I got my start in the video world in about 2008, filming my buddies skateboarding. The video I'm showing you right now, some of my shots, not all of them are mine. I just can't find the old ones. There's a couple of them, it's so long ago. I started on DVDs, and the rest were on my old YouTube page before I deleted them all. I'm pretty sure I put them on an old hard drive, but that hard drive needs to be fixed before I recover them. So I found one of my old buddy's skate videos that I think his mom or his friend edited, and there's a few of my shots in there. But I saved up my birthday money to buy my first point shoot camera. I wanted to be a film director, and a few years later bought my first DSLR, and that's when I started doing like still photography just for the fun while I was waiting to do videos and stuff. And a couple years in, maybe a year or two, I was approached by a buddy of mine who was a photographer and a wedding photographer, and he was like, hey, do you want to be a second shooter for my weddings and stuff? I was like, sure, why not? So it was a few years later after I got my first camera. So I've been doing video for about 17 years now. I've been doing photography for about 13 years, I think. It's a long time, can't remember. I'm at that age now where I sort of forget what age I am. But we did these weddings for a year or two. I was happy being a second shooter. And then there was one wedding towards the end. It was the last wedding I've ever shot as a photographer. And photographers at weddings, they have to be sort of stern. And he was stern with the clients. And he told them not to leave the wedding before taking the portraits. Well, guess what they did? They left. For their honeymoon. And before they got back, they were asking about the raw photos, raw files. And he told them, I don't give out the raw files because, or unless you pay for them, I don't give those out for free because you might edit them in a way and say it's me, and it might not be as good as how I edit them. He said, well, what did you do with all those photos? Can you edit those? And he says, I deleted them. A lot of them weren't very good photos. So I go through them in camera and I delete them, and I go on the laptop and then I delete the ones that made it through the round of camera deletions. Well, they lost their mind on it. Then they went on social media and trashed him. He's the worst photographer ever. Didn't even take portraits of us at the wedding when they specifically left during that time. I take better photos with my phone, that kind of thing. So he decided he wanted to clap back at him. So he goes on social media and writes this huge blog about the course of the whole course of the day. And he says, you know, they left early, didn't tell me. I tried to schedule a separate portrait session when they come back for free so that they could get those photos that they not just missed, but they bailed on at the wedding. And the reason why they left early and why they were hard to deal with was because the bride and groom got drunk on Fireball whiskey the whole time. Everybody was hammered. And he said, when I was trying to do the portraits of the bridal party and everything from the ceremony before the reception, They were willingly being defiant in the posing and paying attention for the photos. And the moms, it's a common theme, kept stepping in front of me, and I had to keep moving them out of the way because they were taking pictures with their phones. Well, unfortunately, and maybe lesson learned, that sparked backlash at him again. And it took him sorry if it's too windy. It took him a good long time to recover from that and get new clients for other things besides weddings, because he didn't exclusively shoot weddings. It took him a while, and he had to rely on friends for a long time to get him back on track and doing like senior portraits for their kids and things like that. Friends that knew him well enough to know that that whole situation was nonsense. And after that, I said, never again shoot photography for a wedding. Because I was the second shooter, a part of that. And though I wasn't directly affected by it, I was still enough involved in it because I was the second shooter. So as the years went by, I started doing photography for my buddies again in terms of skateboarding, things like that. And then I tried to sort of move my niche, whatever the word is, around. And I did newspaper for the school newspaper. That didn't last long because I was working 2 jobs already. I couldn't keep up with it. And then I moved to general portraits, which, I did okay in, but that's fine too. Didn't really stick well enough to make a career out of it. And then I did commercial, and that lasted me a little while. And after doing commercial for a while, I was starting to miss video a little more, and so then I took a job at a local TV station down here in San Diego covering high school sports, doing video. And then that got me a job at that same TV station doing full-time staff hard news. And then the job I had before this was another station, the ABC affiliate here in San Diego, doing news. So I sort of dipped back into video, but I was still doing some commercial photography on the side. But now I think I'm done with it. And probably just going to focus more on video, but at this point, I've decided I'm quitting photography. But not in the way you think. Imagine, if you will, as Dusty Rhodes likes to say, if you walked into one of these stores to buy a TV, you go up to the counter, and they tell you the price and what you need to pay for it. And you say, I can't afford that. What do you think their response is usually going to be? Either go to another aisle and find a cheaper option, or go kick rocks. Not in photography. I recently, a couple months ago, dropped a client that I had. It was a commercial client for this very reason. He was always trying to get the cheapest and cheapest and cheapest price, and I finally just had enough. Like, I charge him hourly, even though usually the going rate is per photo on certain things like that. But he was a friend, so I decided, okay, I'll just charge you hourly. And it was below market rate even then. I was sort of just making some money on the side and helping out a friend while I was at it. And that was too much for him over a couple invoices. So I was like, okay, well, we can work something out. And he's like, okay, well, what about, well, how long does on average take you to edit each photo? And I was like, okay, it takes like this many minutes to this many minutes. He was like, okay, well, let's average it out. And then you give me the hours on that. And charge based on that. It's like, okay. The latest invoice that I sent him was for $147. And that's when I had it. Because the work that I was doing should have cost him probably at least add another zero on that. At least. And even that would probably be half price. And so I was like, that's it, I'm dropping you. And he was like, okay, well, can you help the new person like transition? So I'm helping the new person transition. And bill me for those times that you're helping transition. Now at this point I had enough. I was like, I don't give a shit. I'll do it for free. Just let me transition this person so I can finally move on. Because I also had other paying clients that were paying the actual amount to pay. And so I was like, I need to give them more time anyway. So, like, doesn't matter to me at this point. Like, I don't even care if you pay the $147. I'll eat that because at the end of the week, I did a video gig on a Saturday for 4 hours, and I made like quadruple that in 4 hours. So I was like, this means nothing to me at this point to give me $147. Like, I have bills that are freaking larger than that. I was like, okay, I'll bill you. And so I send him my latest invoice for the training hours. And within 5 minutes of emailing him that invoice, I get a phone call from him. He says, I'm really confused. Like, why is the bill so high? And I was like, well, it was this many photos for this much time at this rate. But I can't afford that. I don't care if you can afford that. It's already super cheap that I'm charging you anyway. And he was like, well, I'm glad that at least won't have to worry about that in a little bit since you won't be an employee for me or working for me. And there's another misconception about a photographer. Photographers can walk away at any time that they desire if it's not good. Yes, you are in client services where you are helping somebody with a service and you want to make the client happy. But don't make no mistake, I don't work for you or I'm not your employee, especially since I'm 1099. You work with me. I am also running a business. And I must make business decisions. This is the whole crux of the matter anyway. I had to make a business decision. So when he tells me that his business can't afford it, can't afford my rate, that's your business decision. I'm making mine. It's like, well, it shouldn't take you that long to edit the blah, blah, blahs. And I said, I don't care. That's what we agreed to, for one. And for two, I've been doing photography for a very long time now. It takes as long as it needs to. And I've been in photography long enough to know that you don't really know how long it takes to do anything. This is what you hired me for. Well, the other photographer at my other business, blah, 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 blah. I was trying to be nice and I didn't say anything, but this guy has a habit of hiring young newbies to the business who are looking for a foot in the door, essentially, something to build their portfolio on. Or people fresh out of college, sort of not old enough to understand sort of the business side of things. So he could try to get away with basically a digital sweatshop. But I was trying to be nice. But I wanted to ask, how old is she? Because for me, again, I've been doing this for about 13 years now. Whether as a small time assistant shooter or an actual lead of the shoot, to see all these pitfalls. You can't go into a store and say, I can't afford that, I need this price. It's sort of agreed upon, whether right or wrong. That's a whole nother conversation, or a whole other conversation, not another. It's a whole other conversation that these companies might be gouging you on the prices. But if you don't pay what they ask and you leave with the item, that's considered stealing. Because the social contract is that these guys, or whatever business, has figured out their expenses and their profit margin, and that's the agreed upon price. No one questions them insofar as why do the prices keep going up, but they still pay. So no one questions them to that degree. Apparently with photography, that's an extremely different mode, I guess. Because when a photographer tells you their price, you think, nope, not good enough. And there's a haggle within it. Now, granted, most people see a picture on a website and they don't think tangible items. Like here, you can go here and buy a dining set and you see it in your house. But because of the iPhones and what I described before with the wedding photographer, I can just take this on my iPhone and get just as good of a picture. One, that's not true, but two, people don't value the content that's on whatever website or anything that you might need it for because it's not as tangible. But what is tangible is that photographer's time and whether he could be booking with someone that would give a better price, but instead is with you. The camera, thousands of dollars for a camera that could break. The lens, thousands of dollars that could break. The food to purchase, to feed yourself during the shoot. The gas and the wear and tear on your car to drive or transport yourself to the shoot. And then after, the editing, your laptop, that could break. Thousands of dollars. The time you spend editing, that could be spent with another client as well. Those are the tangible costs for a photographer and what they factor in when they give you the price. They're not trying to rip you off. But people think you're trying to rip them off. And the problem too is customers have been told yes many times by photographers who accept certain terms. just because especially with freelance photography, you're trying so hard to make a name for yourself and create that business from the ground up, from nothing. Literally, you're nothing. You're a nobody. I've been doing it for this long and I'm a nobody. And barely sustainable. But so it's that hard. So you take anything and people take advantage of that. Since the market of people accepting clients has gone that way. Where now, they're like, I'm a soccer mom. I'll give you exposure. I'll tell everyone in the PTA. And it's like, Cynthia, that doesn't really do as much as you think it does. My rent is paid in cash or check, not in exposure. But that's what they do. And at this point now, too, AI, another conversation, but at this point, if a client could get away with charging the photographer to come shoot for them, they would. It's a race to the bottom. The market is a race to the bottom but there's not much really photographers can do about it other than just be a dick and say, no, this is what I'm charging. And I'll charge you extra if you give me lip. I mean, that's about all that's left anymore. Because what's funny is photography is so necessary, and video, just any content creation. Because AI really hasn't even gotten there yet. But it's so valuable to people, but the people who make it are less valuable. It's a weird paradox. They don't understand what goes into making that crazy cool picture that goes on their website that sells them their item. They understand that the acquired skill it takes for that. And it's only getting cheapened by social cultural things. Again, photographers accepting terrible terms. And clients telling other potential clients, oh, this photographer will do it for super cheap. And they just try to get away with it more and more and more. And now they're being told AI is going to replace them all. Oh, well, I'll just get AI to replace it. That's something. But I don't think everyone's bought into AI as they think. And not just the photography world, but the consumer world.
When are you gonna take it? Sometimes I don't. If I like a moment, me, personally, I don't like to have the distraction of the camera. I just want to stay in it. Stay in it? Yeah, right there.
That scene is from a movie that I've never actually seen, but I like that scene because it kind of perfectly encapsulates what photography really is. I always sort of made the analogy that photography is like fishing. It's a lot of casting, waiting around, setting bait, and only in 0.1 second moment does that 99.9% waiting actually cash out and pay off. And the sport of photography has sort of been taken away. You know, people don't understand why Sean Penn's character sort of didn't shoot that photo, because with the advent of social media and online everything, we kind of forget that, you know, it's sort of the debate between the artist and the engineer, where the artist sort of thinks about the vision and the engineer sort of thinks about efficiency and, I won't say practicality, but UI or you know, efficiency of UI, where it's digestible for sort of everybody. And the engineers have won that debate, especially, you know, in the last 20 years with the tech bro explosion. Nothing against tech bros, but you know what I'm saying. Where, you know, you say okay boomer to all the complaints about going to a concert and saying, look at that, not a single cell phone in sight, or too many cell phones, just experience the moment. But, you know, we all say okay boomer with the haughty derision, but it sort of is true. And the other day I was taking a photo, or trying to take a photo of, you know, a beach setting, and it sort of made me think why I was taking that photo. You know, I was so used to just shooting something and posting it on Instagram or Facebook or all of it, and sort of trying to monetize it in a way. And I'm nothing against exhibiting your work, but everything is monetized now. And you go to any sort of event or blah blah blah, and you're constantly asked, did you get the shot? Did you get the shot? Because they plan on posting it on social media or what have you, and getting the dopamine hit of likes or money from it, using it as ad revenue. And it sort of made me think of the myth of, I don't know, the Aborigine tribes, the Native American tribes. The type of tribes change every day. You know, where they didn't like their picture taken because it sort of steals their soul. And it's a little weird, because if that's actually not a myth, and some people actually believe that, with the way things have gone in our society and monetizing everything, it's almost like they're onto something. And people don't understand too why I might visit a spot or not even take a photo like Sean Penn's character and just experience that moment when it arrives. Take a look at that nice view of the beach or the cityscape, or let this landscaper blow the leaves of the neighbor's house. Everything is so consumer driven, and I'm taking this picture because I want to sell it, or I want to sell this product for this person. And while advertising on social media is great, you know, for small businesses who can't afford television airtime, and when everyone else is on the internet now, it's kind of nice to think that maybe the artist could have an opinion at the table with the engineers again. I think the most important bottom line sort of suggestion or conclusion that I've come up to, I don't think is anything new. I think a lot of people are discovering this. But not everything that you do or not everything that you're interested in or anything like that or create needs to be monetized. I think a lot of people are sort of depressed and anxious because they don't have anything that helps them relax. I mean, people doom scroll on social media, but that just gives them FOMO or feeds them what they want to hear in terms of, well, I'm depressed, I'm gonna doom scroll and I'm gonna get more depressed, because movies and television also tells them you're the hero in the story if you're downtrodden and depressed. But also, there's no outlets for people, you know? Back in the day, myself included, you know, kids used to play sports. They used to get that nervous energy out by playing on the field or on the court. Most people used to, but maybe now too, but even then they post on social media and sort of try to monetize their hobbies. I think a lot of people need more fun and brevity and levity in their lives. I think we're picking the wrong hobbies with politics and online debate channels and rage bait content and all that kind of stuff. Hobbies where you're actually doing something more useful, I think, than a lot of the hobbies that we've chosen. I think sometimes the bottom line of everything is it's just best sometimes to make your hobbies and leave them that way.